You're listening to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast, episode 2.
Welcome to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast, where through education, inspiration, and motivation, we help you to boost bookings and transform your business. And now, your host, Stephanie Thomas.
Hello, it's Stephanie here and welcome to another episode of Putting Heads on Beds, and thank you so much for joining me. Well, spring has truly sprung here and we've had some lovely bright blue skies over the past week or so. And you know what? It's amazing how sunshine really does put a spring in your step. And now that we're in British summertime and the clocks have gone forward, we've got some lovely lighter evenings too. And my daughter Cara is particularly delighted about this. She's learning to drive at the moment. She's having lessons from an instructor, but she's got her test in about 6 weeks' time. Don't tell anybody. I'm not supposed to mention it to anybody. So that's a secret just between you and I. But so what she wants at the moment, as well as the lessons from the instructor, is to get as much practice in as she can. So the lighter evenings have meant that we've been able to go out after dinner, do some driving around and get a lot more practice in. So hopefully that's going to pay off in a few weeks' time. I'll keep you informed. But all this sunshine also gets everybody thinking about holidays and breaks away as well. And so this week I want to talk to you about boosting your repeat bookings. You know, whilst people are starting to think about having a holiday or booking a midweek break or a weekend break, I want you to put some things in place that are going to help the people who've stayed with you before come back and stay again. We're going to look at how many of your guests only ever stay with you once and never come back again. How many of your guests are lost guests? We're going to go through how you can identify exactly who they are and also what you need to do to encourage them to come back again. I'm going to share a 4-stage plan of action that's going to help you to seriously boost repeat bookings. Not only that, but I'm also going to give you a free 14-day marketing campaign that you can implement in your business today to help you win back those lost guests. In my freebie, I share the exact 14-day marketing campaign that I crafted when I was a B&B owner, and I used various different versions of that campaign over many years, and every time it helped me to successfully bring back guests. So in my guide, I'm going to share the emails that formed part of that marketing campaign to help you see how I structured each email. And if you want, you can swipe them and model them and put them into your own marketing campaign. So to get that freebie, you just need to head over to puttingheadsonbeds.com/002 download. So make sure you get your hands on that. So let's talk about your guests. You work really hard to get them. You market your business everywhere. You attract their attention. You take their initial inquiry. You spend time confirming availability and providing them with the price. Hopefully, you follow up the inquiry. When they're ready to book, you take the booking, take all the details, and send the confirmation. Then, when it's time for their stay, you welcome them on arrival. You wow and delight them during their stay. And at the end of their stay, you wave them off as they leave, and then you lose them. So many guests don't come back again. All that effort that you've put in to finding guests, and I bet quite a large percentage don't come back. You never hear from them again. Well, that's going to change this week because I want to help you to win them back. So let's start diving deep into that 4-stage plan of action. So the first stage is I want you to identify who your lost guests are. Before we can start putting things in place to start winning them back, you first need to figure out, well, how many have you got and exactly who are they? You need to put together a list of all your guests from the moment you started your business up until today, right now. If you've been in business a very long time, then you might want to focus on, say, the guests that have stayed with you for over the past sort of 5 years. If you've got a CRM or a database, which I hope you have, then this should be a relatively easy exercise for you. If you haven't, then you do need to grab a pen and paper and all of your guest records. It is going to take you a little bit more work, but you do need to put the effort in and work through this. I promise you, you will be glad that you've done this. So you need to put together a list of all those guests, either ones that you've had right from your very first day, or a list of ones who've stayed with you over, say, the past 5 or 6 years. And when you've done that, I want you to tally up how many people are on that list. Let's call that number A. Once you've got that, I then want you to highlight any guests on that list who are actually on their second or third or fourth visit in the last 12 months. I want you to highlight anyone over the past year who is actually staying with you again, who is a repeat guest. And I want you to tally up how many of those there are. Let's call that number B. So make a note of how many and then remove those people from the list. I want you to just delete them from that list completely. So you should have 2 figures in front of you, number A and number B. What I want you to do is subtract number B, the number of repeat guests, from number A, which is every guest you've ever had. And what you'll be left with is the total number of lost guests. Hopefully you're with me still on there. So subtract the number of repeat guests, number B, from the number of total guests you've had, number A. Got that figure? I want you to write it down and keep a note of it. That figure is actually your number of lost guests. I want to ask you one question. Would you like more repeat bookings? If you're answering me yes, you'd like to have more repeat bookings, then the easiest place to start is by working on that list of past and lost guests that's sitting in front of you right now. They were guests of yours for a reason. They must have liked what they saw and trusted that you would deliver, or else they would never have booked with you. They already know what you offer. They already have trust in you. So it's a much easier option to get more bookings from them than having to do the whole know, like and trust stuff that you have to do with people who have never ever met you before, for all those prospects and leads out there in that big wide world. Getting people who've already stayed with you once to stay again is so much easier than getting somebody new to stay with you. If you're saying, no, I've got more than enough repeat bookings, then hey, that's okay. Maybe you don't need more guests at the moment, but you may do in the future. So you've got nothing to lose by listening to the end of this podcast, because I'm going to be sharing some really powerful ways to get more repeat bookings, really easy ways to win back lost guests. And also, just a little hint here, please make sure you're keeping really good records and data on your guests so that you can always refer back to it in the future. If to carry out this exercise you've had to get pen and paper out and a pile of guest records, then you seriously need to think about moving across to a database or implementing a CRM system in your business. Okay, so what I want you to do, you've got your list in front of you, but I want you to filter it further. What do I mean by filter? What I want you to do is go through that list and pick out the ones that you definitely don't want back again. You know the ones I mean. The nightmare guests that didn't value what you offered, the ones that complained all the time, or the ones that were so demanding and wanted more and more. Basically, the guests that caused you a bit of a headache or grief or stress, the ones you really don't want to welcome back, and delete them from that list. We're not even going to try to win those back. So in front of you now, you've got a list of exactly who your lost guests are, and what we're going to do is start diving deep and we're going to start winning them back. So the next step is I want you to create a special exclusive offer for those lost guests. It needs to be a time-limited offer with an expiry date. You do need to make sure that your offer is so irresistible that all those lost guests say to themselves, I'd be a fool to miss out on this opportunity. But at the same time, you also need to ensure that you make money from this offer. Whatever you do, don't create an offer that you won't gain from as well. When you've got that offer, whether it's a midweek break, a spring offer, a summer special, whatever that offer, what I want you then to do is to send all those lost guests something in the post telling them all about your exclusive offer. You know, in this online age, people just don't get stuff in the mail anymore. And a really, really good and gentle way to get in contact with all those lost guests is to post something to them. You know, a phone call could work, but to be honest with you, I think it will probably seem a bit heavy to start with. And yes, you could email them, but personally, I don't think that seems personal enough. When you're trying to win back lost guests, direct mail is really the best option because it makes it look as though you're putting effort into contacting them again. Direct mail is also physical and it really hangs around a lot. So what could you send them? Let me give you some examples. So you could send them a postcard. Postcards are a really, really good first communication, and I seriously recommend you maximise them in your business. You're not going to have to sit for hours trying to come up with copy to fill a page. And you can put a really great eye-catching image on the front. And to be honest with you, hardly anybody sends postcards anymore. Now, I've got a really, really great tool to help you here. It's an amazing system that I've been using in my businesses for a very long time. And it's called DocMail. So that's docmail.co.uk. And I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But with DocMail, you simply can upload your postcard from your PC, and they provide you with lots of different templates to help you design the postcard. And once you've designed it, you simply upload it from your PC, they print it, and they post it, they do all the work for you, and actually it will cost you less than the price of a stamp. So you get the postcard printed, full colour, they will insert all the addresses that you've uploaded into that postcard, and they will send it all for less than the price of a stamp. Pretty amazing tool. And as I say, I use it an awful lot in my business. Postcards really stand out, and when I use them as part of my marketing campaigns, I really get great results. Or you could send a handwritten card. You know, nothing hits the old heart like a handwritten card. Again, the nice thing about this, you don't need to put together a whole lot of words, and you can choose one with a really relevant image on the front. People usually receive cards on occasions, so there's quite an emotional connection when you send one, and receiving a handwritten card feels really personal. With postcards and handwritten cards, they actually hang around for quite a while because the recipient feels bad about throwing them away. You know, it's so much harder to chuck a personal handwritten card or a postcard in the bin compared to just hitting the delete button on an email. Of course, you could send a letter. You can't beat the old-fashioned letter. You could make it very personal to your guests as much as you can throughout the letter. You know, put some good wording together, put some good copy together, and make sure it shows that you've put a bit of effort into it. But you do have to spend longer finding the words to fill a page, which is why my personal preferences are either postcards or handwritten cards. You could send them some lumpy mail, put something inside a letter. You can have a lot of fun with lumpy mail. Thinking about it, I might actually try and put an episode together, and I'll dive a little bit deeper into direct mail because you can really maximise it and look at all the different options available. And I could put together some good ideas for lumpy mail. So keep an eye out for that episode. I think I'll put that onto my to-do list. So whatever it is you're going to send, you need to post it. And one thing I want to add here is that only post out things to lost guests using a first-class stamp or first-class postage. Using second-class postage really makes it look a bit cheap, and to be honest with you, it gives the impression that you don't really care. And if you are sending a card or a letter or lumpy mail, use brightly coloured envelopes so you can attract attention and create intrigue the minute it lands on their doormat. And make sure you handwrite the address. Please, no mailing labels here. So the next stage is to actually put together a sequence of reminder emails. Sending one letter or one postcard, it just isn't enough. And you need to keep gently reminding those lost guests of their exclusive time-limited offer. And you need to keep reminding them why they should stay with you. And this is where email comes in. This is the time to maximise this great tool. Now, whatever you do, as I said earlier, don't start this process with email. As I say, I really recommend you start it by sending something physical through the post. Don't just drop them an email. Whilst it would be quicker and easier, you really won't get the results that you want. But once that item's been sent, when it comes to keeping in touch, then email is great. But we're not going to just do one email. I want you to send them 3. So the first email will simply remind them of your offer. Whilst they've got your letter or your postcard, it's quite possible that they've popped it on the side or in a drawer, thinking, I'll look at that in more detail later. It might have got magazines and books and other post popped on top of it, and it's out of sight. So you need to remind them that their exclusive offer is still on the table, but that the clock's ticking. The second email that you'll send will just remind them of actually how great your place is. It might have been a while since they've stayed. And the best way that we can do that is to actually include some testimonials from guests who've recently stayed with you. And also we're going to gently remind them still that the clock's ticking on their exclusive offer. And then the third email is going to remind them of all the things that they could do if they come and stay with you. We need to plant some ideas in their mind of what they could do on that breakaway, create some desire, and highlight just some of the things that are happening in the local area. Of course, that email will also remind them that the deadline date for their exclusive offer is almost upon them and that they need to act quickly. Now, I feel passionate about helping you to win back some of your lost guests and to increase your bookings. So as I said earlier, you'll find example emails in my free guide, How to Win Back Lost Guests in Just 14 Days, and you can simply swipe and model those emails in your business. You haven't got to start from scratch. I've put them together for you. So don't forget to download your copy at puttingheadsonbeds.com/002 download. Now, when it comes to actually sending out these emails, there's obviously different ways that you can do this. You could, of course, send them out one by one via your normal email platform, whether that's Outlook or Gmail. But I really want to discourage you from doing this. Just as you wouldn't try to dig a ditch with a spoon, you shouldn't try to send out mass emails without using a proper system that manages your list for you. Systems such as MailChimp or Constant Contact or Aweber. Big ones are InTouch or Infusionsoft. I really recommend that you don't send it out through your normal email platform. Some of the reasons, when you do send your emails out through Outlook or Gmail, your recipients can't unsubscribe. Now, one of the requirements of CAN-SPAM, which are the rules that regulate email marketing, is that you must provide your recipients with the ability to unsubscribe from your mailing list. And the only way that you can do this if you're going to send it out using, say, Outlook, is you must include a message in the body of the email telling them to email you if they wish to unsubscribe. It really isn't a user-friendly system, and to be honest with you, it's really not very professional. When you use something like MailChimp, it automatically provides your recipients with a simple interface that they can manage their subscriptions. It will automatically put the link at the bottom for your contacts to either change their details or actually unsubscribe completely. The other thing is, when you send out your messages through Outlook or Gmail, you've got no way of knowing whether your recipients actually received and opened the email or even how many times they opened it. And an email management system provides you with detailed analytics about what addresses in your list might have bounced, who opened the message, who clicked on the message, even what links they clicked on, if they forwarded it, who did they forward it to. The information that comes back is so valuable in making sure that you run effective marketing campaigns. The other thing when you're doing it through your personal email is that it's really easy to send it to the wrong people. If you're just copy and pasting contacts into your to field or your carbon copy field, it is so easy to copy the wrong address or choose the wrong contact. And this can lead to embarrassment if you're not careful, or it can confuse your guests if they receive a message that's not intended for them. When you use an email management system, you literally just pick the list that you want to send your message to, and it does it all automatically. It takes out the risk of human error. When you send out bulk email messages using something like Outlook or Gmail, then also your message is likely to be rejected as spam. Spam filters look at multiple factors when reviewing an incoming message to determine if it's spam or not. It's very technical. I don't understand, but I know what they do. And one of the factors is the number of recipients on a given message. So if you've put out a message where you're putting too many people in the to field or in the blind copy field, you really are having an increased risk of the message being classified as spam and being stopped. The difference with an email management system is that each email is distributed one at a time. There is only one recipient per message sent. So you're making sure that actually you get through those spam filters and that the email that you've taken the time to put together and you've put all the wording together is actually received by the recipient. And my biggest thing here is you can't really build a great looking email using Outlook or Gmail. We want your emails to stand out from the crowd, and something like MailChimp will allow you to do this. You can choose from a selection of really easy one-click templates that they've set up already, or you can use the drag and drop editors to quickly, professionally and easily create really powerful eye-catching emails that will make people sit up and take notice. And also, one of the most important aspects of email marketing is knowing what is working and what is not. For example, one subject line might be better than another. One delivery time, the time that you send the emails, might get a better response than when you send them out at another time. And with something like MailChimp or any of the other management systems, you get analytics. You can compare all your stats to determine what options give you the best response with your contacts. Now, I'm assuming that you're listening to this podcast today because you want to start driving your business forward. You want to take things to another level. And if you are serious about that, then you do need to get serious about using an email management system if you're not already using one. When you use something like MailChimp, it means that you can pre-write these 3 emails that we're talking about today and schedule them ahead of time to go out exactly when you want them to go out. You can get everything organised and ready to go so that once you've posted your postcard or your letter, everything else will happen automatically. What I don't want you to do, however, is not send any follow-up emails because you haven't got time to master MailChimp. These 3 emails need to go out because it will seriously increase the results and increase the number of repeat bookings you get. So I would rather you send them out via Outlook or Gmail than not send them at all. But please, to protect yourself and your guests, just send out an individual email to each one. Make sure you include in the text the opportunity to unsubscribe and make sure you carefully type their email address in each time. However you do it, whether you do it through Outlook or Gmail or whether you use MailChimp or Constant Contact, however you do it, you want to send out 3 follow-up emails. So that is my 4-step process. The first step, identify who your lost guests are. The second step, create an exclusive time-limited offer just for them. The third step, send them out that offer by post. And the 4th step is to send 3 follow-up emails to remind them of the offer and the deadline date, but also just to remind them how great your place is. Now, this is going to take a little bit of work and effort on your part, but if you want repeat bookings, then you do need to pull up your sleeves and get cracking. Studies show that it costs about 7 times more to bring in a new guest as it does to get an existing one to come back and stay again. So not only will you be boosting bookings, but you'll be keeping more of those profits in your back pocket because it won't have cost you as much to get that person to come and stay again. Now, don't forget, you've got my free guide, How to Win Back Lost Guests in Just 14 Days. It will take you through everything that I've shared today, step by step. And it's going to show you exactly how to do all this in just 14 days. And you get your hands on my swipe emails that you can use as a model in your own marketing campaign. So to get that, puttingheadsonbeds.com/002 download. There is nothing stopping you now. You can download that step-by-step guide today and implement this powerful marketing campaign in your business straight away. If you are serious about wanting repeat bookings, then you've got to get serious about asking for them. I'm really looking forward to seeing what results you get from that. As you know, this podcast is going to be a fortnightly podcast, but because we're still in that launch phase, I don't want you to have to wait that long. So I'm going to do another podcast in a week's time. It's going to be all about one of the most powerful marketing models that you can put in your business. When I put this marketing model in place in my business, that's when things really started to transform. So that's going to be ready for you in a week's time. If you want to subscribe, you can either subscribe through iTunes or you can go to my website and you can subscribe there. If you do subscribe, you'll be sent the podcast as soon as it's published. So I can't wait to connect with you again in a week's time. Don't forget, if you have any questions about this episode or actually any other questions that I can help you with, join my private Facebook group. You can pop your questions in there. I'm in the group most days and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So just head over to creatingbookingscommunity.com and join up. In the meantime, have a great week. I'll speak to you again in a week's time, but cheerio for now.
And that's a wrap for this week's show. Thanks for listening to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast. Make sure you visit us at creatingbookings.com.